Jesus Dream Team. Now that sounds good, doesn't it? What could that all be about? Well, unbeknownst to 2 billion Jesus-following people on the planet today, there is a Jesus Dream Team being assembled. Jesus has been assembling a leadership team to rule planet Earth for 1,000 years. And most people hearing that, they go, that's crazy. Jesus wants us to go to heaven the instant we die, and he wants to sit at Jesus' feet and play harp music, right? That should be fun, right? And look up into the beatific vision of Jesus on the throne and float on clouds. Am I missing something? Is there something else we do? What else are we supposed to do once we get to heaven? It's not all that clear, is it? Right? What are we supposed to do after trumpets when we're on earth as kings and priests? Are we going to have jobs and responsibilities and people to work with and teaching to do? Kings and priests? You know, God's plan is so much better than man's idea of what God's plan is, right? And that's the difference between the truth and man's, information. Okay, Jesus has been assembling a leadership team to rule planet Earth for the next 1,000 years. And it's like, oh, the Earth is going to be destroyed in 10 years. It's like, no, not on Jesus' watch. It's not happening. He comes back to destroy those who are destroying the Earth, right? Now, if you press the button and let off a nuclear bomb, have you destroyed anything? Oh, yeah. Wherever that bomb landed, you just destroyed a whole bunch of Earth, right? And they say there's enough nuclear weapons and bombs and stuff and missiles to obliterate all humanity all the way around the Earth, off the total planet Earth, including Australia, way off there in the South Pacific, right? 10 times, or maybe 20 times. Who knows? How do you calculate something like that? You don't want to find out by practical use, right? So here's what the scriptures say about Jesus and his dream team. Revelation 1:5, from Jesus Christ, the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, the ruler over the kings of the earth, has made us, it's future talk. This is from the book of Revelation. It's painting a picture in the future, has made us kings and priests to his God and Father. We're going to be rulers and teachers. We're going to be teaching the Feast of Trumpets, right, and its meanings, right? Now, we'll be teaching it backwards, right, because the big Feast of Trumpets will have happened, right? And there's a lot of things we don't know, and Jesus will probably explain to us the future meaning of the Feast of Trumpets after the Feast of Trumpets, right? I don't know what that is. I don't have a clue, but it sounds like fun, right? And if nothing else, it can be like the 4th of July. It can remind us backwards to the day when Jesus stepped into planet Earth and stopped all the wickedness and killed all the beast powers and armies and so on. So, Revelation 5:9, for you have redeemed us to God by your blood out of every tribe and tongue and nation and people. In verse 10, and have made us kings and priests to our God, and we shall reign on earth. This is the dream team that Jesus is assembling. Now, it's like the CIA. Raise your hand if you know anybody in the CIA. Does anybody know? You know someone?
I know somebody.
Wow.
My husband worked for the CIA.
Don't tell anybody, we'll have to kill you. So, right, our spy agency is supposed to be top secret. But we essentially, God's dream team is top secret. And it's not top secret because nobody's allowed to talk about it. It's top secret because everybody thinks it's a bunch of garbage, right? It's like, you keep the Saturday Sabbath, that's as nutty as a fruitcake. Oh, really? It's in the Bible. You don't worry about that. We're told that you don't have to keep the Saturday, you keep Sunday. That's a better Sabbath. It's not so strict, the Sunday Sabbath, right? Right, and so this is the reason Jesus is training and has trained faithful servants for the last 2,000 years to be kings and priests. And on the day of trumpets, right, how many seconds will go by before suddenly you realize you're a king and a priest? Right? Do you have to go to king and priest school? once you land, Jesus' feet touch the Mount of Olives, does he say, over there is king and priest school, you have to go there for 4 years to graduate? Or, or is it going to be built into your spirit being brain? Now, you've only ever had one brain, right? And to be given a new brain, right? Now, Bernie's a computed person, so, and he'll know when I say Commodore. Remember Commodore? Right? Our first computer was a Commodore, right? Little teeny tiny click, 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 click. Anyhow, and now we've got supercomputing computers, right? And when somebody installs a brand new computer that's fully loaded, it's like, whoo, it can do stuff you can't even imagine, So when you get your spirit being brain, you're going to feel really good, right? And you'll still have your memories from the old brain, right? But you're going to be able to see things and understand things that are spirit world things that you can only dream about now. So those who complete the training course can expect to hear these words from Jesus in Matthew 25:34. He says, "Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." Okay, so he says, "Because I was hungry and you gave me food." Oh, wow. So this leadership training people are feeding people, okay? Maybe feeding them physical food, but definitely feeding them spiritual food. Because that's what teachers do. Teachers and priests, right, and kings teach people God's way. There's not enough laborers. Jesus bemoaned. The whole problem with these churches, there's never going to be enough laborers to talk to other people. And they say, you're crazy. You could say to them next week, I'm part of God's dream team, leadership team for the coming 1,000 years. And they just look at you like, did you go to Area 51 last week? Are you sort of in touch with the aliens from outer space or something? Because that makes no sense to them. It's like, we just want to go to heaven when we die. It's like, that's it. That's all we want. Except Jesus says, John 3:13, no man has ascended into heaven. It's like, well, that doesn't count. No, it counts, because Jesus said it, so it's true. Right? So Jesus makes this parable plain in Matthew 25:40. The king will say to them, inasmuch as you did it unto one of these, the least of my brothers, my brethren, you did it unto me. When you serve someone else, some human, on behalf of Jesus, it's like you just served Jesus. Now, if Jesus came through that door and you were all convinced that it was really Jesus, right? He could do it if he wanted. He's not likely to, right? But if he came through that door, would you all be eager to serve him? Whatever he wanted, right? Right? That's part of worshiping Jesus, right? You would want to serve him. So he says, here's the deal for my leadership team, right? You serve humans. You serve your children, you serve your grandchildren, you serve your aunts and uncles, you serve whoever you come in contact with, based on you're in the dream team of Jesus, and their purpose is to serve other people in the best way possible they can. And Jesus says, oh, look, he just served somebody on behalf of me. Put that down as he just served me. And say, well, that doesn't make any sense. In the spirit world, that makes a lot of sense. And that's the team we're joining. They do things differently. The little lady who threw the 2 mites into the treasury, Jesus stopped everybody and he said, that woman with those 2 tiny coins put in more money than everybody else here today combined. Now, humanly, that's in error. That's not true. That didn't happen. Spiritually, it did happen. Her sacrifice was of greater value than everybody else combined. So he says, inasmuch as you do it to others, you do it to me. The core of this training program is learning God's truths and practicing God's true ways, which is service to other people. What do you think kings and priests are going to do for 1,000 years? Are they going to be, wave the fan, I'm hot, right? Are they going to be like Nubian slaves and the king or the pharaoh in Egypt or something? They're going to be working kings and priests serving other people, right? So the core of the training program is learning God's truths, practicing God's truths ways. Jesus shows the heart of Christianity in Matthew 22:37 says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And the second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, i.e. other human beings. And there's the clue. You serve others on behalf of Jesus, and he records that as, since you served them on behalf of Jesus, you just served Jesus. Therefore, you're on the team, right? And then the rest of that parable, I don't have it in the text there, but he says to the goats, you know, goodbye, you're finished. And they said, hey, wait a minute, what happened here? And he said, well, you didn't serve anybody on my behalf. You know, and essentially they lived the first life, they come up in the second resurrection, they live the second life, and they still don't want to serve other human beings on behalf of Jesus, and so off they go into eternal punishment, not eternal punishing. The punishment lasts forever. They're dead forever, you know, second death. On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets. The whole Bible is all about serving other people, serving God first, and God says go serve other people, and it says, you know, love your neighbor as yourself, which nobody's ever going to, okay, how many, you know, none of us are loving all of our neighbors at the same level as we love ourselves. First thing in the morning, who do we love the most? Ourselves, right? Who do we take care of most of the time, most of the day? Ourselves. Do we have that same level of love and concern for all the people around us? No way, right? Our grandchildren, maybe yes. Children to some degree. Husbands and wives, yeah, some, you know, right? But that's a tall order. Love your neighbor as yourself. Woo! God, give me strength. So the point is, Jesus' leadership team people must love and serve God and his human family using truth and his spirit. John 4:24. God is spirit, and those who worship him must. Okay, this is like keep God's commandments. No, I don't want to. Wait, this is God. You must keep God's commandment. You must worship God in spirit and truth. Those in the leadership team accept Jesus as the commander-in-chief, and they daily strive to follow all that they are learning. When you learn something from the Bible, you say, yes, Lord, I'm going to go try and practice that. And each year we should learn a little more at trumpets. We should learn a little more at all the other festivals. We should learn a little more every Sabbath day. And we should go out of here on the Sabbath day going, I'm going to go practice that on somebody. Right? I'm going to try that on somebody. You know, Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters, for either they will hate one and love the other, or they will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon or wealth. You can't serve this world and you're improving your lot and God at the same time. You have to choose. And the best money is choose to serve God, be on Jesus' dream team. Jesus' team members focus daily on their many steps leading into God's kingdom. And, you know, your steps are, stay faithful until I fall asleep tonight. And tomorrow, the steps for tomorrow are stay faithful until I fall asleep tomorrow night. And, you know, take it one day at a time, as the old country and western song says, right? But always be, I'm going to stay faithful. And keeping the trumpets, keeping the festivals is a reminder to yourself and to God that you're staying with the program. You want to be in the leadership team. You want to learn everything you can. Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. So each day it's like, God, here I am, teach me, help me. I want to step where you want me to step. They accept that seeking truth and speaking truth are practices that cause them to grow more and more Christ-like. And that's the Jesus leadership team, is every day you should get a little more Christ-like. Now some days are just a blowout, all right? You get to your pillow and you go, oh, what a day, you know, and Lord, I need some sleep. I'll try again tomorrow, you know. But some days just end up, everything went badly. So Ephesians 4:15, speaking the truth in love may grow up in all things, grow up in the leadership team, to him who is the head, Christ, becoming more Christ-like. Besides teaching people how to live godly, right, what else will these leaders be doing in the 1,000 years in the kingdom? Revelation 2:26, he who overcomes and keeps my words until the end, I will give him power over the nations. I would love right this very second to be given power over Iran. I'd be gentle, but I would go to Iran and things would be different. But I don't have power over Iran, so on they go, right? Revelation 2:27, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. So there will be no Iran in the 1,000 years future. There will be no ISIS in the, there's going to be no school shootings. It's going to be, and like 100 years into the 1,000 years, if you go and interview somebody and you say, so how's school going? Oh yeah, we're learning this and we're learning that. Have you had any school shootings lately? School shootings. What's a school shooting? They won't have a clue what school shootings are. We're all going, Washington is telling us, we're going to make a law and there will be no more school shootings. It's like, dream on, right? But anyhow, it's like, it's what happened, isn't it? And people see it on TV and they say, yeah, I want to do that too. It's like we almost helped create it. But anyhow, power over the nations. So those in the leadership program will become king-like leaders over cities full of humans. At first, when I first understood this verse, to be quite honest, I thought, ew, I don't want to be a king over 10 cities worth of full of humans, nasty humans. Good night. It's like, remember Moses said to God, I'm not their father. How come I'm stuck with all these stiff-necked Israelites? Right? I really should have put that in the text, but Moses complained to God, these are not my kids. But anyhow, Luke 19:17, he said, well done, good servant, because you are faithful in very little and you have authority over 10 cities. And I thought, when I first thought of this, I thought, oh man, I'm going to be stuck, with 10 cities worth of crime, gripey, nasty, people. But I'll have a spirit being brain. And so I'll be able to say, there, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Okay, why don't you go and do this? Why don't you go and do that? And it'll all be okay. And, it's going to be great helping people become God family members in the future. I mean, what greater opportunity, right? The CIA goes out and does all this spy work and prevents other nations from playing tricks on us or something, whatever the CIA does, right? And they're all, shh, don't tell anybody. In our case, we want to tell everybody, and everybody says, go away, shut up, get out of here. We don't want to hear what you have to say. It's like, but this is the future. No, we're going to heaven when we die. So Jesus and his leadership team will hold 8-day learning seminars each year, similar to the State of the Nation speeches by the President. King Jesus will first be worshipped, right? The focus will be on worship. The focus every Sabbath should be on worship of Jesus. What does Jesus say, right? If you come to church and nobody says anything about what Jesus has said in the scriptures, there's a problem. This is all about what Jesus says is going to happen, you're supposed to live according to Jesus' teaching. Zechariah 14:16. Come to pass, everybody who's left will go and worship the King at the Feast of Tabernacles, right? I love that Zechariah 14 section. Jesus and the leadership team will punish nations who choose not to come. So it'll be a different world. Right now, no punishment. Then, punishment. But it's like we can explain to people, right, now, next week, when we're off to the Feast of Tabernacles, I see you packing your car. Are you leaving? Yeah, we're going to the Feast of Tabernacles. What's that? Zechariah 14, where we worship the King, Jesus. It's like, oh, you worship King Jesus at the Feast of Tabernacles? Yeah, like Zechariah 14 says. Go, here's a copy. I photocopied it for you. Here it is. Read it. Pray over it. Right? This is why we go away at the Feast of Tabernacles each year to worship the King. And we're looking forward to when he's actually here on earth, ruling for 1,000 years. I've never heard any of this. Yeah, it's in the Bible. I read the Bible every year, cover to cover. And you never come across Feast of Tabernacles in Zechariah. Well, I'm moving pretty quick when I get to Zechariah. It's like, and like that earlier section where he begat, like how fast do you read through the he begat section? Right? But you got to connect your brain with, what does this mean? What does John 3:13 mean? No man has ascended into heaven. Jesus, you can't say that. Everybody is telling me we go to heaven when we die. Jesus says, no, you don't. Who are you going to believe? That's up to you. Satan knows this, and he sends false teachers and mislead people. We are in the most deceptive set of circumstances humanity has ever seen. If you punch up Google on your cell phone, you're probably going to get a deceptive message about something, right? Rush Limbaugh advertised a flag, and he had 300 different people start websites selling the same flag for much more money. And so when they Googled, flag, Google would put up other people selling the flag and not Rush. And Rush has had a legal team, and every day they check, who's Google saying, and they say, come to our website and we'll send you this flag. And then the lawyers go after them. 300 knockoffs. It's like the world is full. And how many people are trying to hack into your bank accounts electronically? It's like you don't want to know, but you sure hope it's not successful, right? So 2 Corinthians 11:13. Such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of Christ. The most dangerous people on the planet are those who preach Christ, right? Which includes me, and that's why I give you handouts where I'm showing you where it is in the Bible and what it says in the Bible, and I'm hopefully threading them together to where they make sense. And if you've got questions, come and ask me. And I don't have everything 100% right in every place. I'm human. Right? 2 Corinthians 11:14. No wonder Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. Satan has the ability to deceive like he's godly. And that's what he's going to do with the beast power in the future. Verse 15. Therefore, no great thing that his ministers, the ministers of Satan, the devil, transform themselves into apparent ministers of righteousness. You can turn on the TV or the radio and you can hear somebody who's very eloquent about the Bible. Oh, wow, God is blessing his message. Or he's transformed himself as one of Satan's ministers into an eloquent liar, hoax, false minister. Be careful. That's why Jesus warns us, be careful. The way to join the Jesus leadership team is to be willing to study with a diligent heart. And if you ever if somebody says, well, how come I don't know and do this? You can say, are you a diligent studier of the Word of God? Diligent. Well, what do you mean diligent? What do you think diligent means? Right? Because it's like, do you casually read the Bible? Do you casually go to church? Or do you diligently study? And if you diligently study, I got a perfect scripture for you, John 3:13. No man has ascended to heaven. Oh no, you just blew my whole religious life to pieces. I don't like you anymore. Hey, I didn't say it. Jesus said it. Study diligently. If you want to be on the dream team, study diligently. So the way to join the Jesus team is to be willing to study diligently. Hebrews 11:6, I love this. But without faith it's impossible to please God. For he who comes to God must believe that God is, okay? 2 billion, billions and billions and billions and billions of people have believed for the last 2,000 years that Jesus and his Father were God, right? They believe that, but they also believe the commandments of men, right? And that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, not just casually seek him, not just those who seek him, but those who diligently seek him. And, when you go to bed at night, did I diligently seek God today, right? And just coming to Sabbath service is a check of, I diligently keep the Sabbath. I come and I try to learn and understand and more and more about God and his teaching. Tabernacles, trumpets, these are all diligent, focused studies on future events that we know are going to happen. Jesus and his Father are in total control of the universe. There is nothing, right? This is not true of Washington, right? Okay, God allows Washington to be out of control because it's not his job to keep Washington straight, right? And he's predicted that Washington will go crazy. Hello, they're already there, right? And then events will happen and he will step in and he'll stop the craziness, right? So Jesus tells potential dream team members that the only way to join the eternal team is learning and living in spirit and in truth through diligent study, right? John 4:24. God is spirit. Those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. Satan's team wins against us, and we lose if we allow true teachings to slip through our hands. In 2 Thessalonians 2:10, they did not receive the love of the truth, right? And that goes right along with diligently seek and study, that they might be saved. If you're going to be saved, you have to love the truth. If you definitely love the truth and diligently study and seek the truth and ask God to help you, you're going to be saved. Because he wants you in that channel. He wants you in the leadership team. The sad thing is, some of the people who joined the leadership dropped out. They didn't finish the course. They failed the course. So this speaks to those who were not added to God's dream team in the Bible, right? Here's the Bible. It's pretty much the same Bible for the last 2,000 years, give or take a few words, right? Right? Billions and billions and billions have studied this book. And who knows, maybe billions have read it cover to cover every year, right? I don't do that anymore. I try to read and study and evaluate like 4 verses a day. I'm a slowpoke, right? But I take 1 verse out of Psalms, 1 verse out of Proverbs, 1 verse out of either Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, and 1 verse out of the Gospels, Peter, John, James, whatever. And I read, I pretty much start with, God help me understand this verse. And I go, ooh, there's that word diligent. I got to look up the Greek and see what diligent means. It's pretty obvious what diligent means, but you look at the Greek and you say, oh, there's a deeper meaning to that, right? And it takes me like, I don't know, half an hour sometimes to study 4 verses. But I'm asking God, speak to me, help me understand little by little. And, reading cover to cover at high speed, I'm sorry, what we ought to do is create an exam. Say, do you read your Bible, the whole Bible every year? Yes, here's an exam. See if you can score 20% on this exam, right? So they did not receive the love of the truth that they might be saved. This speaks to those who were not added to the dream team because they didn't diligently seek God and worship him in spirit and truth. God's leadership team observe and obey God's festivals and teach God's true ways to other people. This is how people join his leadership team. And, it's so exciting. We are getting so close to, I talked to somebody the other day, and I said, do you expect to be alive during the tribulation? And they surprised me with the answer of no. And they're younger than I am. Right? And I thought, well, the tribulation is only 3.5 years and it hasn't started yet, so we know we've got at least 3.5 years, right? But the tribulation can come very quickly, right? Because events can happen quickly. Like in 1938, the world was not at war, right? 1938, you all remember that? No, some of you don't remember that. Okay. But Hitler was building his army and his weaponry, but he hadn't attacked Poland yet, and that was in 1939, right? And so there was a year, 1938, when there was no World War II. And then there was World War, then in 1939, Hitler attacked Poland, and France and England immediately declared war on Germany. Now we had World War II, right? And it, like, boom, there it was. So